Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey there, everybody, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. It's first look. It's our first look at the DFS slate for week number 2. I'm with DraftKings millionaire maker, Alisha Hunt. Alisha, how'd you do last week? I know you were in on Kirk Cousins, and I know you like Justin Jefferson. How did the rest of the lineup turn out?
I did okay, but not enough to give me a substantial winning. I won a couple bucks here and a couple bucks there, but nothing that I really want to gloat about, if you will. So,
Better than losing, right?
yeah, absolutely.
So this week, I think there's some plays out there that I like a lot. I want to talk to you about them. Let's see if we agree here. Let's get right to it. Do you think, well, no pun intended, let's get right to it. Do you think that the Miami stack going up against New England, do you have to look there first? We saw what Miami's capable of. I know the Chargers defense has always been slightly overrated. New England let up a decent amount of yardage, not a ton, to the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you look here first?
I don't think so. I have other games that I'd like to go to first.
But when you have a Waddle and you have a Tyreek, do you have FOMO where you're like, ooh, they could just go off? Or do you just say, do you look at it and you say, I don't care about FOMO. I'm throwing this game off my list. I don't care if Tyreek Hill beats me.
Yeah, I'm not looking at the game at all. To be honest with you, I've got some others that I really want to look at first.
All right. So there you go. I'm
Yeah.
throwing it out. Okay. Would one of those games be Cincinnati, Baltimore? Because here's my thought. Week 1, we have expectations. And then we overreact. Oh, Cincinnati's terrible. They're never going to win another game. Joe Burrow's horrible. The team is not in sync. That T. Higgins sucks and Jamar Chase stinks. Do you start to say to yourself, well, maybe the Bengals, I can get them for lower ownership this week? Or is this a game you want no part of?
Again, it's not really one that I'm going to focus on. I think they both did very poorly last week, and they may or may not bounce back, but it's just not one that's a favorite of mine.
All right, Captain Obvious, that's me. Is it Kansas City against Jacksonville in a game that's going to be well over 50 with two teams that play suspect defense? Please tell me you're in on this game.
A few pieces, yes, but not my main stacks.
Okay. Do we assume that Travis Kelce's back? And if we do we have to get him in our lineups?
If he's back, I think it'll be a good stack between Mahomes and him. I mean, he loves Kelce. Kelce's awesome. It's kind of hard not to pick him, see what he can do this year.
Who else would you use in that game? He had a plethora of receivers that got the football. Do you just avoid all Chiefs receivers? I mean, there's Rashee Rice and Tony. Maybe Tony's learned how to catch in the last 10 days. I'm not sure. Scantling, Pacheco could always find the end zone. Or do you just figure a skinny stack with Mahomes and Kelce and that's it?
Yeah, I prefer the other side of the ball, the Jacksonville side, better for some stacks.
Okay. So Trevor Lawrence, you've got Calvin Ridley, who looks sensational.
Mhm.
Zay Jones caught a touchdown.
Yep.
Christian Kirk did nothing last week. Do you expect him to come back to overcorrect? I mean, where are your thoughts on those receivers?
I personally I like Zay Jones. I think Ridley's going to be super owned. I mean, for good reason. He did very well last week. He seems to be his number one target. I think that Zay Jones will have a good game, and I don't know if I'm not sold on Kirk. He seems like he's wide receiver 3, and I don't know. I'm not in on him. Not yet.
Well, if I know you like I think I know you, I think the game that you're going to be loving is a little Seattle and Detroit. So
Yes.
call me crazy, but I know you like your guy, Geno Smith. He laid a big, fat, stinky egg on our lineups last week. Will it smell better in week 2?
Oh my God, it better. I sure hope so, and I think so. Last year when they played each other in week 4, it was an explosive game, and I see that happening again. I can't imagine. Geno's too good to crap the bed for a second week in a row.
All right, well, let's talk about that. It was an explosive game. I mean, a lot of people won a lot of money that week. I know I did. I stacked that game.
Yeah.
Do you feel that people go back and say, hey, they did that last year, they're going to do it again this year? And if so, is that the wrong way to think about it? Because maybe Vegas is thinking that too, and maybe the game doesn't explode like we expect.
No, I don't think that. I don't think a lot of people are gonna go to it. From ownership perspective right now, what I'm seeing out there is they're not super owned. I mean, I think, Geno's around 5%. I think Goff is around the same there, depending on where you're looking, but, um, they're not they're not super owned yet. I mean, it's only Wednesday, we could see what happens going into the weekend, but, right now, I think going right back to them and stacking the crap out of this game is gonna be good for everyone.
Now, you mentioned some ownership percentages, and I think you're
Mhm.
dead right about those percentages. How much can they steam up between now and kickoff? So if let's say a player is at 15% on Wednesday, could that
Mhm.
player hit 30%, or do you think it maybe steams up to 20?
I think unless something really bad happens with the rest of their offense, it's not gonna go up that much.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, do we like Amon-Ra St. Brown? Is he a must? I know your boy Lockett did nothing last week, 2 for
Oh
10,
my
and that was
gosh.
horrible to watch.
Yeah.
Do you go back to a Lockett? Do you bring in a Metcalf? Kenneth Walker disappointed? I mean, where do you look Seattle wise if you like that game?
So yeah, I think my favorite is going to be, Geno with Metcalf, and I know last week I said Metcalf doesn't really do much for me either way, but Lockett with the concussion, I don't trust it. I don't trust he's gonna come back 100%. I think they're gonna be looking for DK Metcalf, and they're gonna feed him the ball, and I also like, Walker in that game, so I would take those 3 and then stack some pieces. I would take St. Brown on, the back, and I also like, Josh Reynolds a lot.
Really? Why Josh
Yeah.
Reynolds?
Um, he seemed to be kind of a favorite of Goff last what was that, Thursday?
Yeah.
And he's cheap. I mean, he's like 3,700, I think. Don't quote me on that price, but I think that's about what he is.
Well, let's see. I will have to check here. I think he is Josh Reynolds. Where are you? Yeah, 3,700.
Yeah.
Um, So let me give you two guys from Detroit, and I wonder if we're not looking at them. Sam Laporta. So the reason I say Sam Laporta, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Seattle likes to funnel things toward the middle. And the middle is where Amon-Ra St. Brown should shine for sure.
Mhm.
And
Yep,
maybe Sam Laporta shines there. Josh Reynolds is usually the guy on the outside there. Do you think
yep.
Laporta could be more interesting than we think?
Absolutely. I think he did great on Thursday, and he's one of my favorite tight ends this week.
Okay. I got another guy for you in this game that I think is going to be
Okay.
very low owned. I think Jameer Gibbs is going to be overlooked in this game.
Yeah.
He was literally 1 inch away from breaking that up play last week for a touchdown. He slipped. But I've said to everybody, dude's not slipping if this is turf. This is turf. That's a touchdown. Is he a guy? And I bring this up with Gibbs because I don't know whether he's a 2 touchdown player. And secondly, I'm not sure that he's a guy that's going to get enough touches to be worth what you're paying. What's your thoughts on a Gibbs?
Honestly, I because they have Montgomery and Gibbs, I'm not willing to lock in either of them this week. I wanna see what they do with them. I think there's other pieces out there that you can work with. There's plenty to stack in that game on both sides, and I agree, I think Gibbs will eventually be, uh, outshining Montgomery, but I'm gonna stay away from both of them this week and see what happens.
All right, let me throw out some more games to you here. You just tell me yes or no if we're even remotely in on them. The Packers and Falcons. I'm thinking no unless you change my mind.
No, um, I'm not really feeling that game either. Yeah, I think the Packers will win, but I'm not gonna take any pieces from either side.
The Bears and Bucks. I can't see why in my right mind I would do that unless you tell me that Justin Fields to DJ Moore is something I should be thinking about.
So you may be shocked by this, but I actually like the other side. I like the Tampa Bay side. Um, and you know, I live in Chicago, or I live in Illinois, so I'm supposed to be a Bears fan, right? And I thought they were going to come out and do very well, but I was a little scared after I watched them. Um, I think Baker and Evans and White is kind of one of my favorite low owned stacks. And I don't even mind bringing that back with DJ Moore on the other end.
All right, so let's talk about that. I liked that stack last week. I was in on the Baker, Godwin, White stack, but even against Minnesota, in which was a pace-up game, Baker only put up 174 yards and a couple of touchdowns. I don't see the pathway to Baker getting 300 yards in this game. And if he's not getting 300 yards, maybe I don't want him. What am I missing?
Right. I think the Bears looked awful. That's the only. I'm not going to go heavy on it. I might throw it in a lineup or two, but you can fit so many expensive wide receivers in there. You can fit some expensive running backs. That's why I'm going for Baker this week, and I think he and Evans will do well. I'm not really big on Godwin this week. I think Evans will be a better target for him, but I'm gonna give it a try in week 2.
I think if Jalen Johnson's covering Godwin, I want no part of him. I do like Evans. I agree with you. I think Evans is a really good play. Let me give you a game that is surprisingly Vegas is in on it more than I thought they'd be. The Chargers and Titans is a 45 spot right now. I think that game, it could be one of those sneaky games, but I don't know whether that's a game stack sneaky. That could be like a Derrick Henry doesn't suck as much as he looked like he did last week sneaky.
I agree with you 100%. It's not anything I'm going to run after. I kind of actually like the Titans defense a little bit. I think they might get to Herbert, and I do like the bounce back for Henry, but I don't know if there's other running backs that are on the same price as him, and I just think they're going to do better. But King Henry, go ahead.
Give me a couple more. I'll give you a couple more in the early slate here. Colts, Texans, Raiders, Bills. I don't see myself jumping. Maybe a piece here in the Colt Texan game, maybe a piece there in the Raiders Bills, but I don't see any builds coming from that.
I do like a little bit of a Josh Allen bounce back with Diggs.
Okay.
And I don't mind throwing a little bit of Cook in there also.
All right, so let's talk about that. The Raiders played really good defense last week.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it that Denver sucks?
I don't think Denver sucks. I actually like their defense this week. I just don't think that Buffalo's gonna go out like they did last week. And I mean, there's a lot of pieces. So they've got Myers. Was that Myers last week?
Myers, right?
Yeah, isn't he? He's still injured, correct?
Well, he had a concussion, so they're not sure if he plays.
Right, and then I saw Adams had a foot issue. The only piece I really like on that side is Jacobs, but I think stacking Josh Allen with Diggs and then me running it back with Jacobs, which I think that might be a nice stack there.
So let me talk to you about that. I'm so glad you brought that up. When we think of stacking a quarterback with a receiver, let's just use Allen with Diggs. We don't think of the bring back as a running back. We usually think of the bring back as another receiver so the game can blow up. But you just mentioned Allen to Diggs, and I bring back Josh Jacobs. What gives?
With all the questionable tags on that team, I think Jacobs is going to be able to run all over him. Yeah, I like Jacobs this week. I think he's going to have to be the strength in the team, and he's going to have to be the one that scores.
Can I let you know a secret? Jacobs will be in every one of my lineups. The Bills' run defense has always been their Achilles heel. Always. Breece Hall, my Roto child from last year, ran like a gazelle. What is Josh Jacobs going to do? Seriously.
He's going to do very well.
Going to do very well. Oh, honestly, if they just have Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers out there, that's all I need. That's all
Yep.
I need. Without them, I may have to fade him because Sean McDermott is not stupid. He'll probably put all 11 guys in the box. But,
Yeah.
if Devontae and Jacoby and Devontae play, I don't see how Jacobs doesn't score.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's going to kill it this week.
All right, let me give you a low owned stack, maybe the lowest owned stack you've ever heard of in your life. Daniel Jones and Darren Waller. The Giants played the worst game I may have ever seen them play, but they're not a bad team. Brian Daboll's a genius. They're going on the road. I don't see them going 0-2 to Arizona. Am I crazy here?
No, I don't think you're crazy. I'm concerned about Waller's questionable tag with his hamstring. He's kind of banged up. I don't know. The piece I do like from that game is Barkley. I think Barkley may be able to do some good stuff this week.
Are you in on Daniel Jones at all for a rebound week?
Personally, no.
Okay. All right. Don't humor me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yes, I do. I'm just joking. All right. 49ers and Rams. The Rams played inspired football last week. Really, they played terrific football. Puka Nacua, a guy that I mentioned on the radio a couple of times as a sneaky guy to get in round 16, 17, 18, looked phenomenal. Kyron Williams looked great. But now you're stepping up in competition. You're not playing middleweights anymore. You're playing a heavyweight in the 49ers. Is this a game that the 49ers just drub the Rams, or could this game explode itself and you want a piece of it?
I don't think I'm going to use any pieces of it. If I do, it'll be on the San Francisco side. I don't have faith in the Rams, not yet. In week 2, I just don't have faith in them. That's as simple as it is.
I usually like to have one game in the late hour to thinking that's the late game hammer, right? The late night hammer, the last game. But I don't see much here, Alisha. You're looking at the Dolphins and Patriots, which you said you didn't like. Washington, the Broncos feels low scoring to me. The Jets, Cowboys, unless it's the Cowboys defense, feels low scoring to me. I don't, and the Giants and Cardinals you don't like. It feels like I don't see a lot of these 4:00 games driving a ton of points. Do you?
I think if any of the games do put up a lot of points, the only one I think has a possibility to do so would be the San Francisco Rams game. I just personally, I think there's better games to target, and I'm just not in on the Rams this week. But that one could go. They played well against Gino and team last week, so maybe he's found some good guys to take place of, like Nakua and Atwell. Those guys could do very well.
Well, Van Jefferson can't because he can't catch. Tyler Higbee was on a milk carton. I'm still looking for that dude. Let me give you a player who I think should be. Let me check the ownership here because I think it's going to be not a ton, but I like the player a lot. He's a running back. His name is Ramondre Stevenson. And we saw how poorly Miami's run defense was last week. It was shambles between Josh Kelly and Austin Eckler.
Right.
Can you find me any love for Stevenson in this game? Or I keep going back to this game only in that it's the one in the 4:00 hour that could shock us at all.
I don't think so. I think the only other piece I like in those later games is going to be Connor.
So would you do a Barkley Connor?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like where you're going with that.
I don't see why not.
Okay. Now, what about go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, I think he's one of the best pieces that Arizona has going for them this year. And I know a lot of people don't like him. I don't know why. I know he's getting older. I know, I don't know why people don't like him, but he's done well. And I think he could have an opportunity against the Giants to score at least one touchdown, which would make it worth it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, but he is, as of this point, a little about, what did I see? Like 11%. I'm at 11%. I don't know if that's aggressive or not. But what about, I didn't talk about this player, and I probably should have. I passed over the Falcons and Packers. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Where are we with the Falcons, specifically Bijan? Then you've got Kyle Pitts, who had 2 whole catches. And then you had Drake London, who really played well last week. Oh, I'm sorry, he didn't. He had 0 for 0. It was a double bagel out there, Alisha. What do we do here?
So we've got Algier and Bijan, and I think they're going to get the most work in that game. I don't like them against Green Bay. I'm not sure Atlanta's fully together yet. And I don't know which one of them is going to go off. I mean, I don't like the game to use on DFS.
All right, so let's see if we can do some sort of early Alisha lineup here. From what I'm hearing, I'm going to throw in a little Baker. I'm going to throw in a little Mike Evans. I'm going to throw a little DJ Moore in because I vibe that you like him.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear Rashad. Wait. I got to get Josh Jacobs in there because I know you like him. And I did hear a little Rashad White. Is that fair so far to say that you like that?
That's fair.
All right. Then I heard Denver's defense, which I'm definitely going to get in there. So that leaves us a wide receiver, a tight end, and a flex. Now, tight end, you said, I remember you like Sam Laporta. You like Amon-Ra St. Brown. So let me get Amon-Ra in there, and let me get DK in there. That only gives me $1,900 for a tight end.
Well, it's not going to work, is it?
Not going to work.
I do like. Wait, let me look at this real quick. Sorry, I'm in a makeshift area right now while I'm finishing up my little office area in the basement. So bear with me. I have my little laptop here.
A millionaire is in her basement. I love it. See, when people say you're in your mom's basement, that's what we're talking about here. DFS winners.
Let's see. I like the Titans as a lower owned defense.
Oh, okay. Let's see. One moment, please. Titans. You did say Titans. Okay. So good. If I get the Titans in, I have $3,400, which can be somebody. Okay. So we're looking at Conklin, Okonkwo, Kincaid, Ferguson, Musgrave. Any of those names mean anything to you?
I'd say Musgrave would be a good choice.
All right. So right now, I'm looking at this is according to you. Baker, Jacobs, Rashad White, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DK Metcalf, Luke Musgrave, and Tennessee.
Sounds pretty good.
You know what's beautiful about that? The ownership is way low.
Yep.
Way low. Is that a lineup? And I'm just throwing it out there for the people, right? To see and look, what we say today and what you do on Sunday, I'd love to see how it evolves, right? When you come on Sirius XM with me on Saturday morning, I'd love to see whether you're thinking the same thing after the research, right? So do you feel like that lineup can explode?
Yes. Absolutely.
Where's the explosion? Is it Jacobs? Is it St. Brown? Where's the explosion in that kind of lineup?
I think it's Jacobs, St. Brown. I think Metcalf's going to have a good day. And I think Laporta's going to have a great day. And I hope Baker blows up. I mean, that'd be awesome.
All right, I'm going to do a different lineup here. Just one other different one here. Let's see if I can get Gino, right? And I'm going to get our friend Laporta in. And I'm going to get DK in. And I'm going to get Amon-Ra St. Brown in. I'm going to get Josh Jacobs in. I'm going to get Tennessee's defense in for sure, because I know you like them. I still need a running back, a receiver, and a flex.
How about Walker? Kenneth
Oh,
Walker.
Kenneth Walker. Okay, let me see. One moment. All right, 5,800. Got him. I need a receiver and a flex.
How about
Zay Jones.
throw Smith Najigba in there?
Well, we already have DK Metcalf and Walker. You want 3?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so I have 5,600 for a flex.
Here's one of my sneaky guys, I think, this week, and people may think I'm nuts, but I think Dameon Pierce is going to have a way better game.
I love him this
week. He's 5,600.
Yes, I love him this week. I do. I love him. I think he's in the prime spot at home. Didn't gently used, like when you're on eBay and you're buying an item that's gently used. He was gently used last week. So now here's an interesting thing about this lineup. So you have Geno Smith with Josh Jacobs and Kenneth Walker. You got Metcalf, St. Brown, Smith, Najigba, Laporta, Pierce, and Tennessee. Tell me why it doesn't faze you to have all 3 Seahawks in there.
Because, in my opinion, I think that game's going to blow up. And I would be all over Lockett, but again, he's still going through some concussion things, and I just don't like the concussion. It's bad. It can really throw a wrench in the game, and I think Smith Najigba is going to step up, and I think he's going to get the ball a little bit more this week.
So interesting. I mean, they also have a very small group of players they use, right?
Yeah.
Literally, it's 4 guys. They don't really use no Fant. Charbonnet didn't look so great. So you're literally looking at Walker, Metcalf, Lockett, and JSN. So if you're saying to yourself, I think this team could put up 30-plus points, you're giving yourself every chance to get those points.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I hope it happens.
Right. No, I mean, look, so I believe in what you're doing here because that you also have Laporta and you have Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're just saying, you know what? I'm in on that game. Maybe I'm going to lose, but I'm going to lose with it going all in thinking that game is a 78-pointer. If that game's a 78-pointer and they lose and it's 40-38, I'm winning $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. That's the thinking you're getting at the first look. But, all right, I like the Dameon Pierce pick. Anybody else, any other game we should be looking at before we go? Is there another player or two that people should do some research on that you're going to be spending some time on over the next few days?
Not that I can see. I've done a lot of research today. One guy that there's been a little talk about so far who may do well is Tank Dell. Might be somebody that you want to look at because that team's pretty banged up, so he may have to step up.
I like Tank Dell, and I think Stroud likes Tank Dell.
Yeah.
What makes you are they going to throw enough for that to happen?
Who are they playing? Indianapolis?
Indianapolis. I worry that game's not going to break through and it's going to be a kind of low-scoring game.
I mean, for his price, it's worth throwing him in as a dart. He may go off. I mean, he did pretty well in preseason, so I'm not saying like, oh my God, it's a core and you have to lock him in, but he could be a sneaky little pick.
So I do have to throw this comment back out there again. Our friend Trevor Hillstrom, all in on Pierce. When Trevor and Alisha and Doc all like the same player, you may have to lock this person in your lineups. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, I wish you much luck this week, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again on this Saturday morning. So people out there, if you want to hear more Alisha and you want to hear how her lineups are shaping up, Saturday morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. We'll be chatting about it. But also check out everything that we do at drroto.com for all of our DFS plays, all of our prop betting plays, and, of course, seasonal fantasy football. All right. I wish you a good rest of the week, okay?
All right. Good luck, everyone.
All right. This is Dr. Roto saying be well and take care.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.